everyone, and welcome to today's English lesson. So we're going to start our session by exploring a new word, and then we'll move into looking a little bit more at our new book that we've been learning about. So today's target word is glum. Your turn. Glum. Your turn. Let's check how many syllables are in the word glum. So remember, the syllables are how many beats are in a word. So I'm going to pat it first on my head. Glum, and then I'm going to clap it out, glum. So how many syllables are in it? Let me check. Glum, one. So there is one syllable in this word. Hopefully you got that at home. So if I was to give a definition of what the word glum means, I would say that it's someone who is glum is a person who is sad and quiet because they're disappointed or unhappy about something. Okay, so if you're feeling glum, you're feeling a bit sad and a bit miserable. So here I can see a picture of a little boy and he's feeling glum. He's not very happy. So the type of word that glum is it's an adjective, and we know that an adjective describes something. Okay, so the word glum is describing how somebody is feeling or showing that they're looking quite glum. They look quite miserable. All right. I've got an example sentence for you to see here on the screen, and I've written it underneath the picture, and it says the girl was feeling glum because she didn't have anyone to play with. So she's feeling quite sad and miserable because she doesn't have anyone to play with. So glum is showing how she feels in that context. So I've got some pictures up now of some animals and some people who are feeling a bit glum. I want you to pause this video now and have a little think. What sentences could you say to describe how these children or how the animal is feeling? And I want you to make sure you've got the word glum in there. Okay, so pause the video, have a little think, and use the word glum in a sentence. Off you go. Fabulous. If you need to keep it paused, but I'm going to show you my sentences now. So here, these are a couple of sentences that I used and created from the pictures that I chose off the previous screen. So I've used the one about the gorilla, and I said that the gorilla was feeling glum because he didn't have any bananas to eat. Oh dear, so he's feeling a bit miserable, a bit sad because he didn't have any bananas to eat. And that was in the past tense, okay, because I've said he was feeling. But now I've written one in the present tense about this little boy, and I've said the boy is feeling glum because he doesn't have anyone to play with, okay? So I've got one in the past tense using was and one in the present tense using is to say how both of these characters are feeling glum. Oh dear, they don't look very happy, do they? So I've got some words that are similar or have a similar meaning to our target word today. And those words are sad. So sad is very similar to glum, upset, miserable, and depressed. Okay, and I've got some antonyms as well. So words that are the opposite of this word glum. So I've got happy and I've got cheerful. So they're opposite meaning to our target words. So let's have a little recap then. So our word today was glum. Can you say that? Glum. So glum has one syllable in it. And if I remember rightly, the definition is it's when somebody is feeling a bit sad, they're a bit quiet, and they're a bit miserable. And if I was to give an example sentence, I would say, Miss Reed is feeling glum today because the weather is miserable outside. Definitely, I think that would be a good sentence to describe how I'm feeling with this rain that we've been having. And if I was to give an action, then I'd give this action. I'd go glum. I'd do a bit of a sad face and go glum, as if I'm turning my face upside down. Fab, thank you for your help with that at home. I'm going to show you a different screen now, and we're going to start our English lesson if I can find it. There we go. Just had a few technical difficulties there. So let's start our English lesson and have a think about what we've been learning this week. So we've started looking at our new story, dinosaurs and all that rubbish, and I just want us to spend a couple of seconds thinking about what has happened in the story so far. So have a little recap. What has already happened in the story? So in the story, Okay, so if you need to pause it now, just pause it and have a little bit more of a chat. I'm going to tell you what I can remember from the story. So in the story so far, we found out right at the beginning that the man wanted to reach the star. That was his dream, okay? That was his ambition. He wanted to be able to reach the star. He tried to climb the trees, but unfortunately he couldn't get up there and he didn't reach the star. And he saw some birds flying up to the star, so he asked his factory workers to build him a rocket so that he could fly up to the star as well. In the process of them making this rocket, unfortunately, the planet got destroyed, didn't it? And everything got dirty and the factories produced lots of smoke and lots of rubbish. And then when the man finally made the rocket, then he traveled up into space and he got there and he was quite lonely, wasn't he, we said, and there wasn't anything up there. He wasn't very impressed with what he found. And we were starting to make predictions about what would happen next. So whether he would go back to the Earth or whether he would go to a different planet. So that's where we're at in the story. But yesterday, what we started to do was start thinking about describing the pictures that we saw. Because I don't think what's happened is that I don't think that the man has realised that he's actually destroyed the environment around him. So he's destroyed planet Earth by trying to get up to the star, because he's built lots of smoky factories, there's rubbish everywhere, and he's causing a little bit of chaos, isn't he, really? And what was a lovely, nice, flourishing planet has now changed into a glum and miserable place, which is what we were looking at yesterday. So I think we should write some statements that we can show the man to tell him what he has done to the planet. So thinking back yesterday and thinking about the pictures that we explored and the language that we used to describe what we saw in those pictures, what do you think we need to tell him about the planet? So have a look at this picture here. What do we think we need to tell him about what he has done to the planet? Have a think. So I think we need to tell him what the planet looks like now that he's done all this damage to it. And we're going to use the work that we did yesterday. So here on the screen, I've got the two pictures, the two images that we were comparing from the story. And if you look on the left-hand side, we have a lovely, lovely picture of what the Earth used to be like. And we have all these fabulous adjectives around it. Now, remember, adjectives are describing words. And we had pretty, and I put colourful, clean, and bright. Okay, and you might have some different adjectives as well. These are just the ones I had, but you might have lots more. And then afterwards, we said with the other picture on the left that it was mucky, dirty, filthy, gloomy, and dark. Okay, so we said that the Earth had changed from this bright and colourful place to this really gloomy, really mucky place. So I want us to think now about how we could compare these two pictures. So I've got underneath down here on the bottom some sentence starters. And we're going to say, first the Earth was. So I'm going to look at using one of my adjectives, and I'm going to say, first the Earth was clean. What could you say at home about your picture? So I said, first the Earth was clean. What could you say? First the Earth was, have a go. Well done. You might have said, first the Earth was pretty, first the Earth was colourful, first the Earth was bright. You might have lots of fantastic adjectives. Okay. Now though, we're going to compare it and we're going to think, what happened after? So after the man had done all these things, what did the Earth look like? And we're going to use this sentence starter underneath, which says later the Earth. And I'm going to use one of these adjectives. So I'm going to say, later the Earth was dark. Later the Earth was dirty. What else could we say? Have a little think and have a little talk. Later the Earth. Well done. So now I'm going to have a go at putting these two together. And I'm going to say, first the Earth was clean. Then later the Earth was dirty. I might say a different one. First the earth was bright, later the earth was dark, because they're the opposites. I might say first the earth was colourful, later the earth was gloomy. Have a think, what could your sentences be? Have a little talk. First the earth was, later the earth was. Have a think. Brilliant. Right, stick those in your head and we're going to use those now to have a go at writing our sentences. However, yesterday, if you remember, we were using superlatives. So we changed these adjectives to superlatives. Can you say superlatives? Well done. So if you remember, when we were looking at superlatives, we had our adjective, such as dark, which was our root word here. And then onto the end of dark, we added our suffix est. Okay, so dark was our adjective. We added the suffix est, and that makes the superlative darkest. Okay, so that means that it's really, really dark. Then we did the same with our other adjectives. So here we've got light, and then we add the suffix est onto the end of it, and our superlative is lightest. We did the same with all these other words as well, and hopefully some of you had a go at doing my challenges, which I've written on the bottom of my word mat here. So you might have these from yesterday. And we had this word, which was ugly. Okay, this adjective ugly, and we change it to ugliest. And remember, my challenge was to make sure that we changed the Y to an I. Okay, so hopefully you did that at home yesterday. So we're going to use some of these words then to describe these pictures. So I'm going to describe this picture first, and then I'm going to describe the next picture last. So I'm going to look at this picture, use our superlative to describe it, and write what happens first in this picture. So I'm going to say, first the earth was. Have a think, what could I say? I want to use one of these words. Would I use darkest? No, I wouldn't say that's the darkest. Cleanest, yes, let's use cleanest. I'm going to say first. So if we spell first, first, so I've got first, so first the earth was the cleanest. Great. So here, look, I've used the word cleanest off my word map. What else could I have? First, the earth was the cleanest. I'll write a different one first. What else could I have? Let me have a look at my word map. First, the earth was the warmest. Yeah, first, the earth was the warmest. Great. I could say the prettiest as well. I like that superlative. So first, the earth was the prettiest. First, the earth was the prettiest. Great. But then, later, the earth changed, didn't it? We've got the same word mat here, but I'm going to use different superlatives to describe it. And now we're going to say what happens later. Okay? So here, if I use my first sentence, said it's the cleanest, what would the opposite of cleanest be? Have a look. Dirtiest. So I can say later, the earth was the dirtiest. The earth was the dirtiest. Great. And then let me check the other one. I said it was the warmest. So what's the opposite to warmest? Have a look. Coldest. Here, look. Can you see on my word map? Coldest. I'm going to use that one now. So later the earth was the coldest. Later the earth was the coldest. Comes at the end. Full stop. Yep. And then if I look at my last one, the prettiest. We said first it was the prettiest. What's the opposite of prettiest? Is it darkest? No. Is it cleanest? No. Ugliest. There we go. So later the earth was the ugliest. Great. So I've had a little go now at looking at the picture, using a superlative to describe it, and writing what happens first and then last. So I want you to have a little go at doing 3 of those for me for each picture, sorry. So I want 3 sentences with superlatives to describe this picture. So make sure, look, you've got your superlative in it. It has to have a superlative, okay? You might want to put a circle around where you've used your superlative. And then I want you to do the same for the second picture and make sure you're using a superlative to describe this picture as well. Once you've done that, I've got a challenge which I'm going to show you now. Are you ready? And we're going to try and make a compound sentence. That means I've got one simple sentence, another simple sentence, and I'm joining them together. And I'm going to use the coordinated conjunction but. Okay, going to get my word mat off here so I can use that to help me. So I might want it with my spelling so that we can use it. I'm just going to shrink it on my screen. There we go. So I'm going to say first the earth was, but later the earth was. Okay, so let me show you one first. So first the earth was. Right, we're looking at this picture. I'm going to say first the earth was the cleanest, but later the earth was the dirtiest. Right, I'm going to write that one down first. Let me say it again. First the earth was the cleanest. I'm going to use this superlative. But later the earth was the dirtiest. Great, right. First the earth was the cleanest, comma, but later the earth was, but later the earth was the dirtiest. I'm using that word mat there, brilliant. Right, so let me check. So you can see here, I've said what the earth was like first, and I've got the superlative cleanest, and then here I've got but. So I've joined my 2 simple sentences together, said when it happened, and used the superlative dirtiest. Let's see if I can write another sentence with a coordinated conjunction but in it. Let me see on here which 2 words I'm going to use. I might use, what about if I use the superlative the lightest and then later the earth was the darkest? Yeah, so I'm going to say first the earth was the lightest, but later the earth was the darkest. Right, let me write that down. So first the earth was the lightest, comma, but later the earth was the darkest. Darkest, full stop at the end. Great. Right, let me get rid of these so you can see my sentences better. There we go, fabulous. So I've got first, so I've said when it was. The earth was the lightest, so I've got the superlative. I've got my but here. Later, the earth was the darkest. Great, I've got my superlative again. Okay, so that is my challenge for you today. If you think that's a little bit too tricky, don't worry. What I want you to focus on is making sure you're writing simple sentences with superlatives on the end to describe these pictures, okay? If you want a challenge, then have a go at using these sentences and joining them together with the coordinating conjunction but, okay? I'll pop this all on a sheet for you to have a little go at doing at home, and it's got these pictures and these words on. But don't forget, you've got the words at home as well that you did yesterday that you can use and include in your writing today. So please have a go at doing that. I want you to have a go at doing 5 sentences for me, okay? If you're just doing the simple sentences, I want you to have a go at doing 6, 3 for each. If you're having a go at doing compound sentences, I want you to have a go at doing 5. Okay? Don't forget to send all your work across so I can see what you are doing. And it's been so lovely to see you all on the live sessions the past few days. So I'm looking forward to seeing lots more of you later on today. Take care and I'll see you later. Bye.